right. Okay. So we'll get back to that email in a minute, and we'll cover these concept questions that we got. So the question was, what was the question?
It was about ports, how to see what ports are what open or whatever.
All
by
right.
running it.
Let me see. I can't remember which one it was. All right. Now, this Netstat allows you to see the network statistics. Now, it's telling you the state of the address, and it'll keep going. You notice this is TCP.
Mm-hmm.
So, just as an example, what Netstat does, and this is in Chapter 14, one of the most important ones, it's a command line utility that displays network connections for TCP routing tables and the network interface. So there's a lot of different things. You could basically put netstat/a, and it displays all the active connections of TCP and UDP ports while the computer is listening. So let's try that real quick. To get it to stop, I'm going to press Control-C, and it should stop. Or is it Control, shoot, what is it? Is it Shift-C or Shift? Okay, I don't know. It was a Shift-C or Control-C, one or the other. So I'm going to press up again, -A. Now, what this has done is it's saying these are all the active connections that the computer is listening on. And if you look closely, you will see a lot of stuff that's on my network at home. Now, you got my desktop here, which is probably my laptop. And then it looks like there's a bunch of other stuff. It could be some cell phones and stuff like that. Let me do Shift. Okay. Here's another one that you could look at. Netstat-E. This allows you to display the Ethernet statistics that's in bytes. How many packets was sent and received? Let's do I. Netstat-I. That looks like that basically just showed all the different things you could do as well. Let's do Netstat P, capital letter, see what that does. Didn't show anything. Let's do a Netstat T. But the point I'm trying to make with this, and we'll try another one too, because there's another program that I want to show you guys. I think I'll download that. Hopefully it won't break our connection. But when you look at all these different IP addresses, you see the protocols being used to communicate is TCP.
Mm-hmm.
And it tells you whether it's not established. Now, your question was, how do you know they're open and closed? That's one way you could find out. But then there's other programs. And see, this is how cybersecurity analysts and cybersecurity hackers, this is how they break into networks. If they could get access to the network some kind of way just to find out what's open,
Mm-hmm.
then they know what protocol to attack.
Right.
Just give me a second here. I need more air. It's still hot.
Like Nessus, the Nessus program.
Nessus, yes. You can use Nessus to look for certain ports,
Right.
and you could actually sign up. So I always recommend people to consider signing up for like a little trial. And what this does right here, and this is the one you want to use, or you could use this one, 7-day, but this is the free one here, and it allows you to scan 16 IPs. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and just, since we're at it, like I said, this isn't part of the test, but from a networking standpoint, I think I'm just going to go ahead and just, let me see, This is my code. I'm just going to go ahead and I will, let me see here. Now, if you notice, you see that .deb, that's for Kali Linux. If you look at this, this is Amazon Linux. So, like, if you get an AWS account, you can actually install this. It's a pain, but I'm telling you, if you learn how to do this on your own, what that says to you and what that says to employers is you're able to connect an instance and install it in an application. We're not going to cover that in class, but if you ever get to the point where you just get really, really, really curious and you learn how to do it on your own, most people can't do it just right off bat. Most people just can't. They just don't know how to do it. Now, most of these looks like they're based on Linux. I'm trying to find one. Here it is. Okay, so if you got a Mac, you're going to use a DMG file. If you got Windows, you're going to use naturally the MSI file. Now, if you have, I got Windows 10, but do I got 32-bit or not? So let's go. I probably got 64-bit because I'm using a Windows evaluation copy of Enterprise.
Yeah, 64.
64?
Right.
Yep. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to use a 64-bit. We could also look at the checksum. We could see the Md5 hash and the SHA-256. Now, real quick, as this is downloading, I'm going to tell you guys a little story. And the reason why, for those that are interested in getting into cybersecurity, you want to know what this means. You guys might want to write it down, MD5 and SHA-256. Basically, I'll tell you about a case, okay? I'll tell you about a case and how the way they found out the processes they use in a legal matter when it comes to regard to cybersecurity. MD5 and SHA-256 is pretty much the typical global standard for what they call hashes. What is a hash? Well, we're getting into cryptography talk, okay? When you have an investigation from a forensic standpoint, well, I got about 15 more minutes until he comes on. Okay, well, I'll try to make it as quick as possible because I know I talk a lot. But when you have a forensic investigation, the crime scene is the computer nowadays. People aren't doing crimes like they were back in the day. Nowadays, a lot of crimes are the computer. So you might have some weirdo, that's looking at some illegal porn stuff, right? Usually when they catch these guys, they're on these sites and they're trying to find children. They're trying to do a bunch of sick stuff, right? So what happens is once the police find out about who these people are, what they do is they may do like a raid. The guy might not even be home. Kick the door down. The computer's sitting right there. You don't just grab the computer. Oh no, that's not how that works. You don't just bag and tag it. That's not how that works. There's a specific protocol and a process which they call to I forgot what the process is, but it's a specific forensic process. Let me see if I can find it. It's real quick so I can draw some context.
Evidence collection.
But it's very specific. Let me see if I can find what it's called. It's a term. shoot. I hate that I don't remember that term. It was so long ago when I took that class. But it's I should put this on Slack so you guys can take a look at this. But anyway, it's the way it works is when you come onto the crime scene, ain't nobody there. They want to keep that computer in the best and you know, it has to be exactly how it is as presented in court. So in so many words, you guys, the way it works is they have a hashing thing. They use it, this checksum thing I told you, SHA-256 Md5. It's about integrity. So what happens is typically they'll take a USB drive that has a Linux distribution. When you guys look at my old videos, you'll notice that I use a Linux distribution, a Linux ISO image file. The reason why they use Linux, and here's the key point. The reason why they use Linux is because Linux, when you install a USB file, a USB drive, and you plug it into a computer, it doesn't modify anything. When you take a USB drive, a regular USB drive that has been used on, for example, Windows 7, Windows 10, whatever it may be, it modifies files. I don't know, somebody's thing keeps popping up making noises in the background. But it modifies files. The USB drive, most people don't know, when you put a USB drive in a Windows 7, any Microsoft operating system based laptop or desktop, it installs small files, which means it's altered something, right? That's why they use a Linux distribution. What they do is they take the USB device and they'll put that in the USB device, and then they may just run Linux. Or sometimes they have to even go further than that, and they have to use some type of device that they plug into the USB device, something that does not alter, you know, anything, okay? And what they do is they capture what they call a live image. It's called live acquisition image. It's happening live. It'll be like a little USB hard drive that'll have Linux or something on there, or something that does not alter what is there. You can't come on a crime scene and pull an OJ. You can't come on a crime scene and say, well, we just going to take the glove and just move it over there because, you know, we don't like black folks and all that and we want to get them convicted. No. You can't do that. That's called tampering with evidence. To see, you have to leave that laptop as it is. So they'll take a live acquisition. And then what they'll do is they'll run another program called it, and I'll show you guys this maybe tonight. But it's just like a little mini program. It's probably like maybe 5 megabytes or whatever. They'll run that and run what they call an Md5 hash. So once they run this, once they run the Md5 hash, something like this, a long encrypted or a cryptography letter with a bunch of letters and numbers will pop up, right? They'll take that and they'll write it down, or they'll put it somewhere. They'll write down who touched what. Okay, I handed it off to Kamisha. We got to write that down. Kamisha got to sign off on it. Okay, Gabby's the forensic examiner. Okay, when did he touch it? So everyone that touches this computer or any other device, anything they got, hard drive, doesn't matter what it is, whatever evidence, a collection of evidence they have, it has to follow, it's called not a code, but it's like a standard of something evidence. It's like a process. I'm going to find it. I find it where it kills me that I don't know what it is, but it's something like that, right? So when you're opening up this computer and you see right on the screen, okay, this guy's looking at some sick shit. He's looking for kids. He's doing all this. They gather all that information. And even in the RAM, sometimes they don't even shut the computer down. Because something could be in the RAM. There's ways where you could go into the actual memory, not the hard drive, but in the RAM, like right here. Task manager, We know right here, these are the processes running. He could say, well, I never went to that site, and I didn't go to www.imtryingtokidnapsomebodyskid.com and all that. You could be like, well, wait a minute, sir. Yes, you did. You were on Chrome, you were on this, and this is just an overview for what it may look like. But they'll use a program like this. Something like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll put that in Slack too. If you guys can, convince these folks to just give you a little trial, there's a free trial here, that would be super dope. But they use stuff kind of like that, where somebody else will say, well, I didn't do this, and I wasn't here. Well, it seems to be on your phone. And they'll try to start explaining about that too. Oh, well, I did. They're like, well, does anybody else have your password? Well, no. Well, what about your fingerprint? See? And then that's usually where they get them. They'll try to say somebody else might have had their fingerprint. Well, nobody has the same fingerprint. You're lying. You see what I'm saying? That's the first piece of evidence we got. You're lying about that. So we know that you went to these sites. We know that you tried to attract kids and all of this. And that's usually how they get pedophiles a lot of times. And they're catching them every single day because of situations just like this. But, chain of custody. Chain of custody. Chain of custody. That's what it's called. Chain of custody. Chain of custody. Each person that touches something in that case, it has to be written down. And with that, once again, with that Md5 hash, once you capture an image, I always talk about ISO images. Once you capture an image, it's not like necessarily a picture, but in a way, logically, like a snapshot. You're taking a picture of that entire hard drive. You're bagging it, tagging it, and you run an Md5 hash. Now, here's the key. That Md5 hash that you ran on that hard drive, when you show up in court in front of that judge is going to ask you, Kamisha, is this the same Md5 hash? Because Gabby went, he's a forensic examiner, he went and looked through all the evidence. Did anything change? If that hash has been changed, that evidence is tainted. I don't care if he blew somebody's brains out and cooked it up like Hannibal Lecter and ate it. You cannot use that in court because you have tainted the evidence. Something has changed somewhere down the line, the chain of custody. Somebody may not have signed something right. If Gabby takes the hash and looks at it and said, okay, Kamisha did an image. She used a Linux program. But let's say she accidentally and forgot, and she's down in the lab doing an examination, and she plugged in a USB drive that was a Microsoft USB drive. Now, you know he did the crime, right? You got him red-handed, unadmissible in court. It's not admissible. That's what his defense. If he was a good defense attorney, he'd say that evidence is unadmissible. It has been altered. The way that you guys went about acquiring this forensic examination data, the original hash that Gabby had, when Kamisha was done doing her examination, it doesn't match, which means that somebody changed something. It could have been one small little file. It could have just been just one small little thing. If that hash doesn't match, if I'm a defense lawyer, I said, I don't care if this man cooked up and ate dead dogs for 20 years. He's innocent. We're like, well, we got the evidence right here. That's not admissible in court. You guys changed it. You tainted evidence. And that's how that chain of custody works. You see what I mean? So forensics gets really, really tricky. And even nowadays, because of data and things that are digital, it's a real gray area. And the reason for that with cybersecurity engineering and this profession, it's a big gray area because when you look at a folder, what is your rights based on that folder versus what is your rights based on the crime scene? Okay, well, we had a right to enter his house. Based on what? Well, we didn't have probable cause. So when you're looking at warrants and stuff like that, there's a big gray area between physical evidence and logical evidence now. They're like, okay, well, you did an acquisition. This happened at Geek Squad not too long ago. There was some dude, he was a pervert. He had a bunch of stuff on his laptop he wasn't supposed to. Now, Geek Squad was supposed to do you bring it into Geek Squad. They weren't searching for stuff. But they were looking at it and they just happened to find some pictures. And they were like, oh, man, this is bogus. What is this dude on? Well, now Geek Squad becomes an agent of the government because they found something they weren't looking for. And it's almost kind of like this whole little thing with this. This was a big thing in class, too, when I took my constitutional law. Alexa. It was some dude that he got into, I guess him and his wife got into like a fist fight, got into an altercation or whatever. Well, she ended up, you know, she was screaming and it got caught on Alexa or something like that. But it's real tricky because they're saying, well, this was in their private home. How does this work in constitutional law in terms of saying, well, were these voices that was captured by this device, was it public? Was it meant for Amazon? So Amazon is saying, hey, they were in the privacy of their own home. We're not about to give the FBI this data. We don't want to get sued. But the FBI is like, well, no, you have to give this to us because this was an admission of a crime. And Amazon is like, no, you go to hell. We are violating this man's constitutional rights because XXXXYZ, whatever it is, whatever they sign that has to do with federal law, we're going to have to look into this first. There was a case where some guy did something, and it was on his Apple phone. The FBI wanted Apple to give up, to like open it up. Because he had his fingerprints, and, you know, you can't open no phone up. Well, if you don't have his permission, you can't open his phone up. You might be able to scan the phone for evidence, but you know how Apple is. They're very secure with some of their iPhones. They ain't letting you get nothing open. They told him, hey, listen, you have to give us this information. And then Apple said, no, you go to hell. We're not about to give you nothing. We're breaking the law by giving, and it was like they can't give you that information. This is above federal law. This is like a Supreme Court. Like we can't give you this. This will be violating his constitutional rights by opening up this phone. We don't care what he did. You see what I'm saying? So they fought over that for forever. I don't even know if they even got the evidence from the phone because, once again, you're dealing with what is the probable cause. What is the law? What does the law say? Based on you gathering, he didn't volunteer that information. He had a right to say, you know, so I'm being silent. I'm not giving my information up. They knew what it was. They knew exactly. If they would have had the information, it would crack the case. But it's against the law for them to get the information in the way that they were trying to get the information. So that's why I'm saying it's a big gray area when it comes to this cybersecurity stuff. So, no, your other question was, Gabby, it was a question about ports, firewalls. The open ports, Nessus could scan the open ports and say what port is open, because there's ports and protocols that might be open that you don't know that they're open. And you don't really use them. But if I'm a cybersecurity engineer and I'm a hacker, I like people like you. I like people that don't know they're open because I know I can exploit it. If I know what port it is, I could run attacks and commands and all, and that's what the pen test, Security Plus, CompTIA, and the pen test CompTIA exam is based heavily off of stuff like that. Might be using Python a little bit, learn how to do SQL injection attacks. You know, somebody has a port open. How do you exploit that? Well, we'll run this exploit. We'll run Metasploit. We'll use Kali Linux. Kali Linux is probably the best penetration tool in the business, and it don't cost a penny. It only costs some time to learn how to use it, and they'll learn how to break open to your networks. Let me get my cell phone. Hold on. Let me see if he called. Yeah, so let's just see here. Let me just open it up. Because what I'll do is let's install it. I haven't used this in many years. This might be kind of fun. So let's do something kind of dope. And I always tell everybody, put this on your resume. PCAP. Win PCAP. I'll go ahead and let it install automatically. Okay. All right. So now, I thought I had TeamViewer installed. Yep. Let's put that on my taskbar. Let's open this up and run it. You see how smooth everything's running with my solid state? All right. So it's still going. We'll let it roll. I'll let y'all do the AWS thing. If you need help, just look at the video. But I'll try to, let me see if I can get Azure going soon. Now, post this on Slack real quick so everybody knows. Does that make sense to you, Gabby, how those ports work in terms of them being open?
I think you're explaining it, exploring it through Nexus. But yeah, if it's open, then it can be exploited. Yeah.
What is this here? Is it making me... All right, now this is interesting. Now, it looks like to me, now I haven't used this in a long time, but how much battery power do I got? 70. Okay. It looks like to me that they're doing it now by the cloud, and it's connected from the cloud to maybe some local application that was also installed. Okay. So if you see SSL, you know that that runs on port what? Port 443. Port 443. You know, HTTPS. You know, so SSL is pretty much the layer of security that's running. You know, when you think about HTTPS 4443, think of SSL. So it's saying it's not secure, so I'm gonna just go to it anyway because I know what I'm trying to do. And then the product that I asked to use, I think, was Network Essentials, so I'll just go ahead and click. Okay, so now, Caesar, what's happening? I see you online now. Let me go ahead and put. Now, I already have an application code, right? So, we'll do a username. I'll call this Mr. Pearson 2740. And I will give it the password of my normal little thing. Okay, and then let's go to submit. Okay. Now this is something you guys can try. So now what it's doing is it's downloading and initiating plugins and stuff. Now, getting back to TeamViewer, I hope everybody's been using TeamViewer with each other. I've been preaching this gospel for forever. But
we have not. I have not.
You haven't?
Who am I going to use it with?
Okay. Well, Gabby, are you interested?
For the line, yeah.
Okay, this is a plea and a call for help for everybody that's on the line. Get together and start using these applications. Use all the features in TeamViewer you can. I'm going to run TeamViewer while this is downloading the plugins. For some reason, Internet Explorer has been running here. So anyway, I downloaded the TeamViewer Quick Support application on my Android phone, which I reckon y'all do the same. Okay. And then I downloaded the TeamViewer application itself on my local, using the free version, of course, on my local laptop. Now, I just posted, if you see on Slack, I just posted an example of my ID. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to say from remote control, all right, I'm going to go over to my phone, and I see my ID on my phone is 1137467 I'm going to connect. If anybody's curious, okay, now it's asking me, do I want to allow remote support on my Android device? This is on my Android device. I'm going to say allow. Now, this is my phone. Okay. TeamViewer runs on specific ports and protocols. Y'all might want to go online tonight and just check. Okay. So, Now, the first thing that I've done this before, I think me and Caesar did this on a video before. You could glean a lot of information about this phone. You could look on the dashboard. As you can see, my battery's half full. The RAM's at 76%. It tells my device storage, my SD card storage. You can see the version of my operating system. We're talking about my phone now. Then I could also take screenshots. I could request a screenshot. So this is the epitome of what I'm talking about, you guys, when it comes to supporting remote. This is something you may really strongly want to consider doing with the group, with anybody that's interested. This is just a suggestion. Now, you start messing around, get quick support on your iOS or your Android, and then download TeamViewer on your laptop or your desktop and start playing around with it. You're doing remote support now. This is something you'll do on the job. Now, as you can see, I got all these apps and stuff. I can uninstall them if I want. I could go to my settings. I could see what Wi-Fi network I'm on my phone, and then remote control. So what I'm going to do is I could just scroll around like my phone. I've showed you guys this before, where I can open up, and I keep my resume on me all the time. This one I must have deleted, but maybe this is another one. Okay, so that's my resume. I'll get out of there. But see, this is my phone. You may do this at work. I got my Amazon app. This is how I track my mileage. I got my Play Store. I got tons of other apps, right? Now, I could actually type a message. I could say testing, and this will show up on my phone. So now, if somebody's asking a question, I can see this here, you know, and I can respond. It's 48 degrees, you see? So that's one nice thing, but the point is we want to know what my IP address is. So how do we find that out? Well, that's 192.168.1.115. How do we know that this will connect? Now you notice right here, this is my network SSID. That should be covered somewhere. They talked about Wi-Fi or networking a little bit about in the book. This is my network at home. I just got a router. You know, we got tired of paying for Comcast for internet service. We have fiber optic in our building where it's for free. So I said, well, let's get rid of our Comcast network as far as the router itself, because really what you're paying for when you got an internet service provider, a lot of times you're paying for the router, right? So we got rid of that router. We cut the Comcast network service, and I went and I got a router online for $30. A real nice one to be in fact off Amazon. And now what I did is I took the fiber optic Ethernet cord and plugged that to the back of the router, hooked up my Xbox, got us a network running. Okay, so I'm gonna ping 192.168.1.115, and as you can see, we have a time to live of 64 milliseconds, a 0% loss. We sent 4 packets and received 4. Right? Now, with that IP address, I'm going to take this, highlight it, press enter, which will copy it. And then let's go back to Nessus. Is it still downloading? Let's install the certificate and see what's happening. Maybe it's okay. Sometimes it takes a while. We'll just let that roll. I don't know why it's taking so long. But while we're waiting for that, what I will do is I will get rid of this connection. Now you don't see it anymore through TeamViewer. And what I'll do is, let me text Sean real quick and see where he's at, because he should have joined already.
Hey, Derek.
Hello?
Hello?
Is this Sean?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't know you were online. You could join?
Yeah, sorry. I was just waiting for you to say something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, did you hear us?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know you joined at all. I thought it was somebody else.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, no problem at all. Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it over to you, and we'll let you have your presentation. We'll get back to whatever we were doing later on, and you could tell the class about what you do with Salesforce, and also your experience in our prior classes and stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and give you control.
Okay.
Now, can you see my screen, Sean?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to switch to presenter, and then you could just give it back to me, okay?
Okay.
After you're done.
No problem.
Okay, so you could go ahead and share your screen as soon as you can. Could everybody see my screen now, or
Yeah.
You can still see my screen?
I'm
Whose
trying
screen
to
is
download.
this?
Okay, hold on.
Okay. Somebody get kicked off?
I didn't.
Okay, somebody's in the chat. Okay, I see. You can sit there online. Selected has declined to become a presenter. Okay, so Sean, let me try to make you a presenter again. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, you declined it. Let me see. Are you sure you want to switch presenter?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, can you see me?
Not yet, but I'm hearing something. Thought I heard somebody else too. It says you declined to become a presenter again.
Really? Let me see.
All right, let me go ahead and say switch presenter. Okay, now can you guys see me telling him that I'm going to give him this switch? Because what it should do is, under this thing, you should see something that says share.
Yeah, so start sharing.
And if you start sharing, it should show us.
Let's see. Desktop. Oh, okay. Got it. So can you see me now?
Yep, we can see you. So, could everybody see?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you, everyone. My name is Sean Abiona. Good evening, everybody. So, I just wanna quickly talk about Salesforce. I'm sorry, it's been a long day, so y'all have to bear with me a little bit. Can you hear me well? Pretty good.
Yes.
All right. So, just want to quickly talk about Salesforce. What is Salesforce? How did I get into Salesforce? I got into Salesforce a couple of years ago through a contract, a project. So basically, Salesforce is a CRM. It's a customer relationship management platform. It's a software as a service platform tool that you can use to do a whole bunch of stuff. So let's just kind of keep it at that for now. So I got into Salesforce through a contract project a couple of years ago. And to be honest, and to be actually just to let you guys know, that's how a lot of people get started in Salesforce. They just pretty much, oh, we got this new platform, it's called Salesforce. You might not have heard it before, but guess what? You're in charge. Figured it out. So that was how I got into it. And so started learning and discovering this amazing tool called Salesforce and the ecosystem and the tons of opportunity that is available to all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. So my presentation is going to be a little bit maybe all over tonight, a little bit short, but then I mean there's so much that I can still share with you maybe later on in form of information or resources that I can send to you that can really benefit your career. So that was how I got started learning. Specifically, I started with what is called Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So Marketing Cloud is one of the clouds within Salesforce, right? So but we'll get to that in a minute. So first of all, the screen that you're looking at right now is pretty much kind of like when it comes to Salesforce in general, it falls into the roles that you're gonna occupy or take or jobs or whatnot. Falls generally into 3 different categories: admin, developer, or architect.
You can't see your screen. You can't see your.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, but not the application.
Oh, the application. I'm going to get to the application in a minute. Yeah. So let me. I think I just lost that. Okay. Let me go quickly back to that. So basically, when I'm rushing through a whole bunch of stuff that I can send to you later that you can work through. So you have the admin path, you have the developer, you have the architect path, and the Salesforce admin. What do they do? They work with reports and dashboards and things like that. And you have Salesforce developer. Those are the people that, if you like development, if you like to code, it's not that difficult. It's not that complex. So coding, using Apex and custom applications for building Salesforce instances, Lightning components, and things like that. So that's what Salesforce development is all about. And then you have a technical architect. So that's kind of like the top of the ladder or the top of the pack. So big picture thinker, problem solver, so solution architect, technical architect. At that level, you're making 6 figures, you're working remotely, you can pick and choose whatever projects you want to work on, and then you also have maybe a bunch of different certifications, Salesforce certifications. So the thing about Salesforce is that you have tools that you can take advantage of to help you learn, and one of those is called Trailhead. Let me go to the top and show you. We're still going to go into the tool itself. I'm going to show you, in depth exactly what I'm talking about. So Trailhead is an online learning platform. It's free, it's self-paced, and you can do it wherever you are and at whatever time you want. And the thing about Salesforce is this. Well, maybe I should show you. So when it comes to why should you care? Well, in terms of demand, in terms of the next maybe 10, 15, 20 years, there will always gonna be. I mean, that's the reason why it's hot. And when it comes to people from, I tell you, from diverse backgrounds, I mean, like bus driver, people that had issues in the past, getting into Salesforce. I mean, it's not going to be a cakewalk, but it's provide. I mean, what I like about Salesforce is that, you know, if you're willing to work hard, if you're willing to learn, if you like learning, you can take it anywhere. It can take you anywhere, and that's also part of what I'm still going to send out to everyone, or maybe on one-on-one. You're going to read stories of people that, you know, had zero to something, from, you know, nothing to something. If I use myself as an example, when I started Salesforce, I mean, I was in between jobs. I was at a point in my career where, I mean, I was trying to decide, should I go this way or that way? Where should I go? What should I stick to? So that was when I discovered Salesforce. It was a lifesaver for me, basically. And from that point on, I mean, it's just been, my life has not been the same, basically. So, see, check out inspirational trailblazer stories of, you know, all kinds of people from across the globe. They talk about success, they talk about the courage and the pure grit of people from all walks of life. That's what I'm just talking about. So, and then this is what I was trying to show you. 3.3 million jobs will be created in the Salesforce ecosystem by 2022. So it's the #1 tech skills paying $200,000 a year. $200,000 new jobs this year, and it keeps growing. I mean, it's just amazing. 3.3 million jobs in the ecosystem by 2022. Salesforce developer #10 in the best jobs in the US 2019. Now is the time for you to get in on the action. So, and the magic formula is Trailhead. What is Trailhead? This is what it looks like. So basically, you go to trailhead.salesforce.com, and then you can, so you can sign on, and then you can earn badges, you can, you know, earn points, and guess what? Some of these things you can put it on your resume. You can put it on your LinkedIn profile. That, oh yeah, even before, I mean, there are people that used to drive, you know, like I said, coming from all walks of life. Like maybe they used to work security before, or maybe they just want more, they want better, and they got into Trailhead and they signed up and they were taking all these, classes, and, you know, they get badges, they put it on their resume, and they study for their certification, they put it on their resume, they put it on their LinkedIn, and before they know what's going on, they got, you know, job offer here or there. I mean, granted, it's not automatic, but I mean, give it some effort, give it some time. I mean, something is going to happen. So that was how they got started, and from there, you know, they moved from one thing or one role to another. So this is kind of like the question about what does it look like. This is what it looks like in terms of Salesforce. The navigation bar. Again, this is something that is free and available, that I can send that link to everyone to check it out. And it talks about navigating through the navigation bar, opportunities, leads, files, account, contact. Basically, let me just kind of, you know, break it down, because I started working in tech or IT like maybe many years ago, like maybe 99, 2000, 2001. Back then, what gave birth to systems like Salesforce or CRM is basically all this information used to be kept in Excel files, and it got to a point where it's just become so huge, so big, it's just so it's difficult to manage. So somebody came up with this kind of a system to manage contacts, manage relationships, manage your information for salespeople on the field, and it became big. That's something that companies, enterprises were using on a large, massive scale, and that's where the opportunity got created. And that's how Salesforce became a multi-billion-dollar company that is made up of, you have the Sales Cloud. This is an example of Sales Cloud that we're looking at. You have Marketing Cloud, you have Service Cloud, you have Community, and so on.
Sean, so sorry to interrupt. I don't see any of that stuff here. Sometimes you have to go into that little thing and share the whole screen, or like there's different stuff that you got to share?
No. You're not able to see anything?
I don't see anything either. I just see a Windows desktop.
Well,
Yeah, it's select items to share. It'll say.
Select share. Desktop. So I gotta select everything, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well, okay. Then you got career path. See, all of this stuff we're not seeing. So if you go into go all the way up here.
Okay.
And what in the world is going on? Why isn't it not?
Okay.
Let me see. Okay, now we see that.
Can you see this?
Yep. Trailhead.
You see that? Okay.
Yeah, we just seeing stuff now.
Well, we haven't seen anything yet. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You could have said something. Well, okay. So.
Yeah, I know. I should have. I was sitting here trying to work on something on my other little thing, but.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So
no problem at all.
Go back. So basically, this is what I was talking about. This is where I got started. Do you guys see this? Like either you fall into an admin, you could be an admin, you could be a developer, you could be an architect, and Salesforce admin. This is what they do. They create reports, dashboards, business processes. Salesforce developer, this is what they do, and it's not that hard, it's not difficult at all, and you're going to be inspired by a lot of the people that are doing this. I mean, imagine people that had no technical background, people that are even worse, quote unquote, that had zero knowledge, and within months or maybe a couple of years making 6 figures, picking and choosing where they want to work and what they want to do with their lives. It doesn't matter where they come from, I'm telling you. So technical architect is kind of like at the top of the pack, like I was saying, 6 figures. At that point, you pick and choose where you want to work, what you want to work on. So again, talking about Trailhead and stuff like that, this is what I was talking about. 3.3 million jobs. Why should I care? Why should you care? Number one, tech skill, paying $200,000 a year. How many jobs are created per year? The growth, and the reason why I care particularly about this type of stuff is because I mean, whether we like it or not, even though I'm not somebody that sees everything in black and white all the time, but at the same time, you have to be realistic that, hey, in this world that we live in, there are still some issues or situations where people might look at you even before you talk and just pretty much form an opinion, which is fine. It's their own opinion, it's not mine. But one thing I like about Salesforce, especially tech skills and tech field, is that it doesn't really matter what you look like or where you're coming from or what's coming out of your mouth. It's more about what you can do. And sometimes, if whether they like you or not, well, they need your services, they need your skill set, they need the value that you can provide, and that's what matters. And that's where you can call the shot and say, hey, this is what I want to do, this is where I want to do it, this is how I want to do it. I want to do it remotely. I don't want to be, be going to anybody's client, whatever site. So it takes time, but that's what I like about it, So this type of skill set, having Salesforce, having Amazon Web Services and IT skills in general, it makes you, be able to call your own shot and be at the driver's seat of your own life and destiny. So that's kind of like a very, and then, okay, I was talking about Trailhead. So Trailhead, you can sign up, go to trailhead.salesforce.com, and you can earn badges. You can put it on your resume. See, I have, if I go to show you my own profile. So I have 14 badges. I should, probably work more on that, get my points, and then you have like different levels. Scout is 0 badges, 0 points. Hiker, 1 badges. So you can see this screen, right? You can see what I'm showing you, right? So, and then the highest level is the Ranger, 100 badges, 50,000 points. So you can score more points, you can earn more badges, and then you can also earn certifications And let me show you that certification, role-based certification, Salesforce credentials, admin, architect, developer, marketer, consultant, and all that information is there. So that's the reason why when Derek approached me to give a presentation, I was thinking, okay, so should I put a slide together? Should I? But the thing is, there's so much information out there that I'm like, you know what? It's just gonna be, because I'm so busy right now. So let me just show you, go online, show you what I have, and then you can also go, online and do your own, digging in. So this is what the platform looks like. This is a sales cloud, so to speak. So this is what it looks like. You have your home, you have accounts, contacts, and all these things are what developers can build in the background. They build this in the background, and then when you talk about the admin, so that some of the things that they do, admins, they manage all these dashboards, reports, and stuff like that. So this is just a demo sandbox environment that I'm showing you. So it's not fully robust environment, but just to kind of give you an idea. So, and then from here, you have your sales, you have your apps like Lightning and things like that, and Workspace, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of like a very I'm still gonna be more than happy to maybe kind of like later on during at some point very soon give a more kind of a thorough deeper presentation in terms of how do you get into the game when it comes to Salesforce, what kinds of clouds are there, sales, service, community, marketing, and what it takes, and this and that. And I can also talk one-on-one as much as I can, share resources. I mean, like I said, there are tons of resources out there. Like I said, I know nothing about Salesforce. When I started, I think my first exposure was maybe only a couple of days or 3 days at a company that was using it to send emails in 2015 or 16. So I just put it on my resume that, hey, I have some exposure to Salesforce, So that was how I got that contract engagement the following year, because they were looking for somebody that just knows Salesforce. So that goes to show you how much demand. They're not looking for expert. They're not looking for 2 years. They're not looking for 1 year. They just wanted somebody that knows Salesforce. So that was how I was able to get that contract the following year. And a lot of things I learned it on the job. I Googled, I went to the community, Salesforce community, Ssid community, Trailblazer community, community groups, I asked questions and stuff like that. I used Trailhead to help me to answer some of the client questions. So I was learning, I was producing, and at the same time, I was also teaching them some of the features of Salesforce, all at the same time. So that was how I learned the system. So that was how I figured it out. So it wasn't that I had any, or somebody taught me, or maybe, no, I know nothing about it. But that was how I got into the game, and from there to where I am right now as a consultant, full-time, doing what I do. So that's kind of like a very quick overview. I don't know, maybe if you have questions, that might help me to be more focused, so that I'm not all over the place. So yeah.
Why did you choose marketing platform?
Why did I what?
Choose marketing platform?
Yes.
Why?
Why marketing? Very good question. Because before in my career, I've always been involved in. Actually, let me backtrack a little bit. I started in maybe 99, 2000, doing tech support, networking, and stuff like that. Actually, I learned networking by Cisco. The people that taught me networking where I was working at that time, I was using Cisco. They were using Cisco. It was a Cisco shop. So that was how I learned networking, by using Cisco products and Cisco 5500 and stuff like that. So from networking, tech support, I did that for a number of years, a couple of years. And then since I did business information systems in school, I thought, well, and actually it was during the internet.com crash of 2001. So a lot of jobs in IT and internet crashed. So it was like a mini recession at that time. And then 9/11 happened and everything kind of just went, So I decided to go into a little bit of, accounting, financial analysis, and see how that goes, if I'm going to like it. But I ended up not really liking it. So I went back to IT. So I went back to tech support. And then, but I wanted something much more dynamic, engaging, and whatnot. So I fell, quote unquote, into content management, web content management. So I did that for a number of years. I liked it. That was how I got introduced into SharePoint and stuff like that. And from there, I went into email marketing. So email marketing, I did that. That was what my first gig when I moved to Minneapolis in 2000, maybe 12 years ago, 13 years ago. So email marketing, that was my introduction into digital marketing. E-marketing, digital marketing, when it was just taking off at that time. So I already had that platform, I already have that foundation. So email marketing, digital marketing, I continued in that for many years, working with companies like Target, Ameriprise, 3M. And then, so it was natural when they saw my profile, I'd be like, oh yeah, we have this email developer role, and they're using Salesforce Marketing Cloud. It used to be known as Exact Target because Salesforce bought them out. So that was where I was exposed to it for like maybe a couple of weeks. Actually, that company didn't like Marketing Cloud. They didn't like it. They wanted to get rid of it. So, but I just learned it for a few days and figured it out and put it on my resume. I didn't use it for more than 2 weeks. But I put it on my resume saying, oh yeah, I'm familiar with it. I'm not an expert, but at least I know my way around it a little bit. So that was what now got me the Marketing Cloud role in 2017 that I did for maybe for 7 months or 9 months to help them implement Marketing Cloud and to help them, figure it out and stuff like that. So, so that was how I got into it, And why Marketing Cloud? Well, as at that time, that was what came to me because I needed a job. I needed, to pay the bills. So because that was another thing, I'm just being realistic and being real. I didn't have a job at that time, so I needed something. So, and I needed to just, figure it out and just I needed to do what I need to do, to be able to pay the bills and keep going. So Marketing Cloud happened to be the first that came to my way because a lot of people learn Salesforce by learning this. This is what they learn first. This is, the traditional, normal, admin stuff. This is where you get started. Right, so Marketing Cloud is like, a little bit unusual, but at the same time, people that learned Marketing Cloud first, sometimes they are a special breed that is different in the market because there's a lot of demand for them as well. So that was what led me to answer that question, why marketing? So yeah, I hope I answered that question very well.
On the side note, you go ahead, Gabby.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying that do you have to get a certification on it?
When I got started at that time, actually you don't have to have certification. I didn't have any certification. It was just a willingness that what, and I was able to just when you have a lot on the line and you have to support yourself and you have a family to support, you don't lie necessarily, but at the same time, you do what you need to do to, okay, yeah, I can, learn this thing, I can figure it out, I can help you do what you need to do to send this campaign and, using Marketing Cloud. I've been exposed to it for, I'm not an expert, but I will figure it out, and we will learn as we go. So I didn't have certification at that time. It was when I was on the job that I discovered all this certification stuff. Like if I go to the marketer section, it was when I was on the job that I just, there is a Marketing Cloud email specialist. Oh, really? There's Marketing Cloud. It was when I was on the job that I found out about all these credentials. And it was after I finished that engagement that I started preparing for my own certification, and I have this Marketing Cloud Email Specialist certification. This Marketing Cloud Consultant is the next one. It used to be the toughest, very tough. Is the one I'm working to crack right now, hopefully very soon. And then you have the Marketing Cloud Developer, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of like the story. You see, the thing is, when you're trying to break into the field right now, you need at least 1 or 2 certifications. First of all, you need your badges to show that you have that initiative and stuff like that, and then you can prove it by maybe 1 or 2 certifications. But what is actually much more important is experience. So yeah, but if you're kind of like new, trying to break into the field, I would suggest maybe this admin certification, this administrator certification. The guide is there, and then you can study and prepare. See, everything is there. So that's the reason why I didn't want to spend time coming up with a slide, because everything you need, the study for the admin is all here.
It's all there.
See, this is the exam guide. It's there too. Everything is online. See, content about the exam, purpose of the exam, how many questions, how long, the passing score, the fee, the retake fee. You can do it on site, you can do it online. So everything is online. So that's the reason why I didn't do any online slide or whatever, because there's a lot of information and support online already. It's just knowing who to ask, because it's massive, it's complex sometimes, so you gotta find somebody that kind of knows their way to kind of point you. So what exactly are you trying to do? Are you trying to get a job? Are you trying to skill up? Are you trying to what exactly are you trying? Or maybe a combination of the two. You're trying to start a new life, you want to begin again, so that was where I was a couple of years ago, because like I said, I've worked for some years, and I think I plateaued at some point, and I needed a new beginning. I needed a fresh start, and I wasn't of course any younger, so Salesforce was the right decision for me, because you can immediately prove and show and display what you've learned. You can also start making money, after some time from it, because unlike others that you have to wait, how do we measure if you really know AWS? How do you want to prove it? So, but with Salesforce, you can use your badge, you can use your certification to prove that, hey, I at least I know my way around. I know what I'm doing. And with more experience, I can get better. So yeah.
Now the Salesforce thing, on a side note, I was going to say, he's telling the truth on everything. This is why I've been so preachy to the class about Salesforce, because the reality is I'm living proof of what he just said. I've been doing Citrix for the past 2.5 years. And, I just wanted to do something different in data. Like I was talking about diversifying your portfolio. I applied for a data position, and I got it. I had all the technical experience as far as infrastructure, and they just needed somebody to just learn it. Now, what he's saying, those trailblazers, if you scroll up a little bit, and then if you go to learn, all right, and go to trails, Okay. Now, mind you guys, like you said, this is free. I mean, they never had anything like this 10 years ago. Now, when you go down to, if you go to admin beginner, all right, and you can pick as many trails as you want. Okay, now go down a little bit. Go down a little bit. Down, down, down. It should, all right, right there. That's where you guys want to start. Now, I'm going to tell you a story about my job. They told me to go to admin beginner, do all of those, then do admin intermediate. I didn't do admin advanced. They just wanted me to be able to learn to move around because we got several different systems that's connected to Salesforce. It's all logical. Salesforce, it ain't like none of this stuff with networking where you got 50,000 different variables and ports, and that's not how it works. Everything you need to do in Salesforce is there. Now, how do you go about doing it? And how it's very customizable, so you could do whatever you want. You just need to know how to do it. Wow. This Trailhead thing tells you how to do it. So you could, I'm gonna just keep it a buck. You could make way more money with Salesforce coming in, and then after a couple of years, rather than just somebody that's stringing along the network engineer ladder. It's gonna take forever. Not with this. And as Sean said, he didn't know anything about Salesforce. I didn't know nothing about Salesforce. I've been using Salesforce, man, for 6 months. I done took a couple trails. Now, if I wanted to go somewhere else, I have at least basic working knowledge. That's what you want, is just basic working knowledge, because once you build off of that, it just goes up from there. You'll excel much faster in your career with a Salesforce career than just a regular IT career. It's IT, but then it's kind of not. It's like you don't need to know much about networking. You just need to know how to be able to, because there's things that they want you to be able to do in Salesforce that can augment it and make it better. And here's the thing about this community. It's like the Linux community. They don't act like Microsoft where they want you to pay for everything. They want you to learn their product. You got people that were, they came from all different walks of life that got into this game, and the Trailblazer community will answer questions. So if you get stuck, especially with some of these labs, like these sandboxes, Sean, you know how the sandboxes, when you going through the trails, you're like, man, it ain't working. It might have been a way that they explained for you to do something in the sandbox to pass the test. And I'm talking about the training. We're talking about this is probably over $100,000 worth of free training you getting. I mean, I ain't BSing. I mean, you see it right there. If you read some of these people's stories, half of these people ain't never touched Salesforce in their life.
I know her.
You see? I know her. Yeah. So that's one. This is in Minneapolis. She's from Minneapolis. And then this guy also is from Minneapolis. Another guy from Minneapolis as well. Let me show. This is just an example. See, this is from Haiti, and he's from Chicago. There's another guy from Minneapolis that I wanted to show you.
And by the way, they have a team, and I tell everybody they should go on Meetup, and they should go to this if they're interested. Like if you're considering going this route. There's a Salesforce Saturday team, and it's a bunch of people that's just like this that probably know a whole lot more than you, and they're very open to people that's interested in Salesforce. You just go and you show up, and it's almost like college. See, that's what I'm saying. You could go straight past the degree. This is the degree here with Trailhead. You see what I'm saying? Like, dude right here, he was a janitor. You see what I'm saying? Like,
the security guard, he was doing its ETM lead, asset protection, working, just retail stuff, and then he was laid off. So for the first time, he was 16 years old, he was unemployed. I knew when this guy started in Salesforce. I remember, it was a couple of years ago. 2 years ago, I came for the first time, unemployed and just a little lost. Fast forward 2 years, 3 times certified, employed at Slalom. Slalom is one of the top consulting companies, and that's the power of the ecosystem. So if he can take it from where he used to be to where he is, I mean that's what I'm saying. I was not employed. I was in between jobs. I had a decision to make. I didn't know much about Salesforce, but hey, I'm here today. I'm talking about Salesforce. I mean, he used to be a janitor, security guard, and what he learned on Trailhead, he was able to earn his admin certification. Essentially, what I just said, what Derek also said. In December, he got certified. So after that, his skills landed him a job building Salesforce solution himself. So,
and he's a keynote speaker. Like y'all do know the keynote speakers do get paid, right?
Yeah.
A lot. A whole lot. I know a guy that's there was this brother that was, I've ever talked about SANS.org, the security network. A lot of them people that do them trainings and do them keynote speakings, they give them like 10 bands, fly them out to Europe and stuff like that. And see, you get to go to Dreamforce, where you get to meet all different types of people like that. Like, I'm just going to be 100 with y'all. If you want to go the IT route, it's going to take you way, way longer. If you go this route, you're going to have way more money in a shorter amount of time, and your career is going to be more solidified. You'll never look for a job. Huh?
You're blowing my mind.
It blew my mind. It blew my mind too, because see,
That's the guy. Justice.
Do you remember? Do you remember the last time when I told you all about
I'm
like with
jumping
corporate?
Ship.
Huh?
I'm jumping ship, Derek.
No, look, go ahead. This is what I say. Y'all get your certifications.
This is what he's saying.
Get your Microsoft certs, just so you got your foundation. So in the meantime, but I employ everybody, man. Go to Salesforce route. Go to Salesforce route.
After years of working IT, my focus shifted. That's exactly what Derek just said. After years of working in IT, my focus shifted to Salesforce. I started learning with Trailhead. Exactly the same thing I said. Trailhead online, which in many ways served as a gateway to an elevated understanding of the platform. So, under the course, 80-90% of development in Salesforce can be done declaratively, which means you don't have to really, you can point and click in terms of the code. And it's a speaker that they're calling all over the place. He's talking, being invited, and I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I'm telling you.
From what Derek said, it's true. I've been in IT. I've been in the, like in the contract game around here. I've been in Minneapolis, Minnesota since 2006. Before that, I was in Wisconsin. I know when it comes to IT contracting and consulting, how much. At some point when it comes to networking, maybe the most you can ask for or get is maybe around 30 whatever. With Salesforce, I'm telling you, when it comes to, admin, the minimum, if you have a certification, no coding, no whatever, is around at least 80 to 85K to start.
At least.
Off the rip. As an admin. So if you're not a developer, you should not be making nothing less than 6 figures. Developer, that's 100 every time. It might be 150.
And look, and I'll tell you another thing. It doesn't feel like you're straining your brain.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's not a brain strain because everything's there, and you could always talk to somebody and reach out. It's not like, okay, now, like we had a guest last time, and I remember one time she said, now, when you're in some of these networks, remember I was very honest about especially how our people was treated, especially in IT in some of these corporate environments. You run the show when you're the Salesforce admin, and they know what your value is. Okay, so sometimes sometimes in IT, in certain places, you get there, you sometimes may be a little isolated, right? And they withhold information from you. They can't do that with Salesforce. They can't do so. Nobody can withhold. That's another good site you're talking about. That this is excellent. That Apex coding, you get down with that Apex coding, I'm telling you, it's a life changer. I'm not really much interested in coding, but I'm just saying, for those that like logic and okay with math, that's the move.
Exactly.
And we just putting it out there for you because when you're dealing with Salesforce, here's another reason why we need to put this in historical context. As he said, Salesforce is buying everything.
Yeah.
They just had an acquisition. Who was that, Sean? They just bought somebody. Who was it?
They just bought Tableau. They bought.
Shut up.
Tableau. Now think about this.
Wow.
Just think about this for a second. They bought Tableau. Do you know how big that acquisition was? It was like $20 billion. Pennies to them. They're going to run the whole entire game. That's what I'm saying. Like, they got Tableau. That's what all these places are doing. They're buying all these small little companies. You see what I'm saying? I mean, Tableau is bigger than itself. But look what he said. That's an opportunity for $1.8 trillion in digital CRM analytics. Now, here's another thing, and this is the scary part, especially for our folks, but I got to say it. This new wave with artificial intelligence, especially the way it's going with banking, okay, AI, especially when it comes to our folks, AI is going to be a little dangerous because they're going to start saying, well, people did this and people did that. However, we're in technology, so we got to use things to our advantage regardless, no matter how we feel about it. Salesforce bought a whole bunch of AI companies. So what do you think that means? If you get down with Einstein Analytics and understand how to use the AI interfaces with Salesforce, you're going to be even at a cutting edge of the technology. That's all in Trailhead. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I say at least get an account, you guys, and play around with it, because once you get to messing with it, if you're at a company and they're like, we use Salesforce, and they be like, man, we wish we had some Salesforce people. Like, hey, I'll volunteer. Just volunteer. Because once you start getting that on-site enterprise Salesforce experience, they can't take it away from you. You'll have it forever. And all you do is build on it. Most of these companies, they'll pay for your certification. They'll send you out there to Dreamforce. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm telling you, it's a much luxurious, it's less stress and a much luxurious paycheck and a luxurious story rather than just basic old network engineer. That's okay. But I'm saying this is the way. This is really the move, man. I'm just gonna be honest. It's the move.
That's true. So I mean, this is kind of like one of the things that encouraged me and got me fired up when I first started, because I discovered this guy. He has, I mean, how he started. Okay, let me go. His name is David Liu, and a few years ago, he was working in marketing, couldn't write a single line of code, and but then since then he's now a technical architect. So he's a Salesforce technical architect at Google. So I mean, this is his story in terms of how he got started and when he learned to code, what he learned about. It's like I said, there's a ton of information out there, and then he now put up a blog of other people, how they transitioned from nothing to something, like struggling graduates, poker player, 40 failed interviews, coming back to Salesforce after cancer. I mean, 60-year-old unemployed to Salesforce MVP in 19 months, from stay-at-home mom to six-figure, earning Salesforce consultant. I mean, it's up to you how far and how far you want to go when it comes to this ecosystem. So that's why I said I was kind of like barely scratching the surface. I can go on and on and on and on. I have someone in my LinkedIn network. I mean, she wanted to change. I mean, she's been a Salesforce Marketing Cloud engineer for one of the top agencies for a couple of years. So, and I asked her, I'm like, okay, so why are you making a change? Actually, maybe I should show you the profile of the person I'm talking about, because sometimes when you see some of these things, it lets you know that this thing is possible. So she is somebody that I know, that on my network. So she used to be a Salesforce Marketing Cloud engineer at Digital. I mean, it's a full-service digital agency. She, has that background of doing a little bit of coding and stuff like that. So, but it got to a point when she said, okay, so when she started this LabCorp job not too long ago, I was like, why did you make a change? She was like, well, she had a number of reasons why. She wanted to transition from somewhere that is fast-paced to somewhere that is a little bit slower, so that she can go back to school and get a master's degree. in business analytics or something like that, business intelligence masters, and then she wanted something remote. And the next role, she said, has to be 6 figures. So she did a tweet about it that, oh, this is when I started looking, and within how many weeks, like 4 or 5 weeks, she's right there. So I'll see if I can find that tweet. So, I mean...
Hello?
Hello?
Brother Kevin.
Yeah, sorry for being late, man. I had to take care of some stuff. I'll give you more information about that later. All right.
Yeah, so it's just...
Are you in Minnesota?
Am I in Minnesota?
Yeah.
I am in Minnesota.
Okay, I'd like to network with you. Now,
Sure.
What happened is, that's why I'm saying, Derek is just blowing my mind.
Okay.
Because
These are the salaries, average salary of an admin, developer, architect, BA, marketing manager, Salesforce skills, so, and there are different examples of different people that can give you context and meaning into exactly, and then they even have this thing I like about Salesforce is that, I mean, even when it comes to resume, there are trailheads on resume, how to write your resume, how to put it together, jobs. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on. So I'll stop and let you ask questions.
Well, one question I have is for everybody on the line tonight that's tuning in. I haven't sent the email out yet, but who's all interested in Kamisha's request? She said that for this exam, we'll get back to the Salesforce thing, but for this exam, she's willing to go hard on a study group, and you guys get together, go through the study questions, practice tests, whatever, the book, the videos, and also any labs or whatever, and she wants to do this a lot. So this is the time for anybody that's interested for you guys to get together and start coming up with maybe, set up a conference if you guys have to, a free conference on your own or whatever the case may be, because it would be a good time, because at this point, I think that's the best thing to do. There's really not too much else. There's really not too much else that I really need to cover. Like I said, all the videos are up. It's just a matter of who's interested in joining that group. And as far as Salesforce, if anybody's interested in going offline with Sean, if he has time, I'm actually thinking about, my next class that I do. Because, in about another year, you guys, I'm going to wrap it up. And I'm probably going to do this for maybe like another year or something, just focus on, writing my book and speaking engagements and stuff like that. That's the plan for me. So I'm thinking about actually having a session like this every class, if Sean's available, to do a presentation with Salesforce like this, because, not only am I, I look at myself as a guide. Not only am I presenting you guys the information, but I got to keep it 100. I'm not going to give you guys a sugarcoat, politically correct garbage that you may get in college or at work. I'm going to keep it 100 about how it is to be in this game and what are some of the best tools that you could use in this game. And if it's Salesforce, as opposed to focusing heavy on a system engineer, network engineer career, I'm going to recommend the best course of action that will allow you to, like I say, get your exam, get your MTA, but I'm going to throw this out there because this is something that it's only going to get bigger. And a lot of people don't know about this. If I would have, just real quick, and I'm going to turn it back over for Salesforce questions. I had an opportunity, and I think I said this before, to be a business analyst. And this was around, I don't know if I want to say the midpoint of my career. I don't know. I was probably like 25 maybe. I was young. You know, I was like 25. I mean, I'm not old, but I'm just saying, like, I think I was like 25 or 20. I don't know. But I had an opportunity to become a BA. And I looked down on it. Oh, it's not technical enough for me. I don't want to be no business analyst. And I was making up all these dumbass excuses. Now I'm kind of lightweight pissed off that I didn't take the opportunity, because even just in the title alone, I really didn't realize what I was turning down. Now, I found that out many years ago as I started developing these classes, as I started to get people certified and get black folks into a lot of these positions and getting them hired and all that. But the BA is probably one of the most powerful positions that you could get, especially if you're in the Salesforce. Oh, my God. Like, it's that position right there. It was supposed to be supporting Salesforce. Then I had another opportunity that happened after that. Maybe God was trying to tell me something and I didn't want to listen. There was a Salesforce support position that I was offered. It was just a contract, and they was going to show you how to do everything. I didn't want to take it. It's not technical enough for me. I was in that mode, not realizing what I was turning down. Had I would have took that BA position and did that little 4 or 5 month contract, and had I would have took that Salesforce support position, I'd be in the 150s right now. I'd be on the lake right now. I'd probably own property everywhere. By this time, I would have been starting to seriously thinking about my retirement. I probably still would have wrote this book. I probably would have been touring around the country. I probably would have had a couple cribs already. And had I would have learned about 401k, how that broke down, because my financial planner told me, he said, there, if you would have started off your 401k during that, right before that market crash back there in the early 2000s, when you started off with your IT, it's another thing y'all need to learn about 401k. You need to understand that. Had I would have did that, I would have been sitting on 200. Now that's pretty nice for a young dude, young black man in his mid 20s, or not coming out of his 30s, sitting on 200 with a position paying 100. So by the time I be 45, I'm worth half a ticket. You see what I'm saying? So it's just things you learn as you go. And maybe I wasn't ready. Maybe I wasn't mature enough. I probably would have been acting a fool or something. I don't know. So maybe at that time it wasn't ready. But like he says, that's real. 80 to 100 for as a Salesforce BA. You have some admin skills, but now what you're doing, like he said, is you're tackling. You're the liaison in between the businesses, so you know how Salesforce could be able to pull data and you know how to administer it a little bit, but your job is not to administer. Your job is to basically be able to talk to the business, and then also talk to, the tech Salesforce people. You'll probably be working with the Salesforce admin. Most Salesforce BAs were probably admins before, but they're able to, like you said, make recommendations. And I mean, like I said, you'll always have a job, or you might create your own company. You might want to do for self and step out on your own. That's another thing we need to start thinking about, especially with our folks and practicing group economics, especially in this era of time. We need to start thinking about that as well, doing for self. So,
that's one thing I want to quickly jump in and say about Salesforce is that no matter where you're coming from, whether you're male, female, what, you're going to see somebody that looks like you, that sounds like you, doing exactly what you wish. I'm talking about people that you look at, they're at the top level. They're like 6 figures, they're doing what they want to do, when they want to do it, and they look like you, they speak like you, they have, coming from all kinds of backgrounds. And you'll be amazed. You'll be like, well, if this person can do it, I can do it too. If she can do it, what's stopping me from doing it? So, we're talking about Salesforce business analyst. I was actually trying to look for a video that somebody put out not too long ago, that she did a whole session about, sales, because Salesforce Business Analyst is also a whole different area that is also kind of like exploding right now. And the thing with Salesforce is that it's so huge, it's so hard. You can be working for someone to gain experience. After some time, go set up your own stuff and be doing your own thing. One of the people that I had the privilege of working with, Korean American, she's a Korean American adoptee, and she started in the ecosystem as well, in the Salesforce platform ecosystem, worked her way up. After some time, she stopped, working for somebody else, and she started doing her own stuff, doing her own consulting. And so we were on a project in Los Angeles, California, I think around this time last year. We went to go and went for an implementation project for Toyota in LA. And she was saying like, well, her husband is also...
Go ahead.
Yeah, that she was saying that, well, we pick and choose the kind of projects that we want to do. My husband works maybe 20 hours a week, and he spends the rest of the time writing a book or working on a book. I mean, the sky is just like, it's just, endless when it comes to possibilities. Just making up your mind as to how and when, and being ready to pay the price. And like I said, what I really like about Salesforce is that for people that are trying to make transition, or maybe you are trying to start a new chapter, a new life, or whatever, and you don't want to wait, because that's the thing. I'm just being really, really realistic and being practical. Maybe you have a family, or you are by yourself, or you know that you can't continue to be a janitor forever, or security, and the money is not good or it's not enough, and you need to quickly figure out something that you can do, that you can turn around, and something that will make you money like right away. Because majority of some of these coding boot camps, and you go to them, and then you go there for like 6 to 9 months, you pay like $4,000, $6,000, $10,000.
Way too much.
And then by the time you get out, I mean, who's going to know? I mean, how are you going to be sure you're going to get a job to be able to pay it back, or maybe able to support yourself? You don't know. So that's what I like about Salesforce. It's something that, hey, within 3 months or less, or maybe 3 to 6 months, you can display and show, oh, this is my badges, these are my trailheads, and this is my certification. I'm willing to take on, take a chance on me to gain my first experience. Once you get your first experience, and then off you go, and then you'll be able to really, really, get your feedback
and look,
to do what you want to do.
Hey, check this out, y'all. I'm gonna keep it a buck. When you become getting in the game, your first Salesforce role might pay you. It might be 55. I'm saying, let's say you don't know the zilch, and you're somebody who's giving you a shot. It's usually probably going to be a smaller or medium company that might be looking for somebody to come in, or it might be a contract where a company wants somebody to come in, and let's say they just want to say, we'll just pigeonhole you, do this, and that's all you do for now, and just focus on that. Well, naturally, once you start playing around with it, you're going to naturally start. Let's say they just want you to do something really, really basic, where you don't got to do much. You just do the same thing over and over. Well, usually in that situation, especially if it's a contract, you got to assume that you're going home messing with the Trailblazer community and a Trailhead at the crib. And you spend about an hour a day, or, whatever the case it may be. It's going to be fun. It ain't going to be like, man, I got to remember all these protocols. And it ain't going to be no stressor. It's just going to be straight smooth. When you're working at a position like that, when you're done with that contract, you got Salesforce experience, even if it's 4 months, okay? So now your next role, it might be a little different. You see what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is that when you're starting out and you're just basically learning, like I had time to learn starting out, my position was in February. I left the Citrix position in February. So I started my Salesforce position. It's also working with Tableau and other things because it's for a school. But I'm gonna be honest, when you're the Salesforce person, you're the sales admin, you kind of run the ship. So when you're dealing with stuff like that, people are going to talk to you a little differently. They're not going to come. The demand is not going to be the same, because people know that when you're working as a Salesforce admin and you run the show, they're not gonna come incorrect as if you were like working at the help desk or doing desktop stuff to get in the game, right? When you start getting into these type of positions with Salesforce, people are kind of coming to you a little different. They're not gonna come to you too aggressively and all that, because they know that if you leave, they're screwed. Yeah. I mean, big time. They are screwed. Because the Salesforce CRM runs everything. They have to have a Salesforce person if that's what their business runs on. They need a Salesforce person. If you decided to be like, well, I'm thinking about moving around, I've been here a couple of years, they will beg you to stay. Oh, we'll give you 15 more. We'll give you, they're probably going to try to figure out a way to keep you, because they don't want to lose. They know what it means for a Salesforce person. It's not a dime in a dozen situation necessarily. It's not that it's really hard. It's just that a lot of people don't know about it. Yeah. So in my position, I've been on it for 6 months. I went through the trails. And if somebody comes to me and says, well, I need a report, I'll ask them, well, how soon do you need it? They'll be like, oh, well, I have it by Friday. So I'm going to keep it 100. I come in, I be on coffee, I'm on CNN for 4 or 5 hours. I run the show. You see what I'm saying? Like when there's an issue, there's an issue. But when there ain't no issue, I'm chilling. Or I'll go on Trailhead here and there or whatever. But I mean, the thing is I kind of run the show in a sense when it comes to administering that. Yeah. You're the king or the queen of the castle. You run it. You see what I'm saying? You run the show, because that whole infrastructure depends upon you. And if you have an issue that you're trying to figure out, you could just go to the community. Most of the time when you start going to these little meetups and stuff, you'll meet somebody. You just call one of your homies. Hey, man, I'm trying to do this. How do I, like if you go into setup, like if you open Trailblazer real quick, Sean, if you go into, if you open up a sandbox and go into setup,
okay, hold on.
And I'll show them something real quick. Yep, like the lightning. And see what they use now. It used to be Einstein as the little avatar, but okay, so now if you go into right over there by the bell, if you go to setup to the left, yep, if you go to setup. Now see what you're doing as the administrator, click on that, open that up. Okay, as the administrator, what you're doing is similar to what's happening on like with that stuff in Active Directory, AWS, all that. Let's say you need a new user. Well, you just click users, okay, and then typically with Salesforce, we use permissions based on profiles, not individual users. So you may have the similar thing as a group, right? So go ahead and click on profiles. All right, so this is basically just kind of generic setup, if you will. Let's say we had a group of HR people. Okay, now go back to permission sets. All right, so go down a little bit. Okay. All right, so Marketing Cloud Connector Admin, click on that. Okay, so now this basically will determine what this person can see and what they can't see. It's a whole bunch of different variations. All right, so now let's go click on users again. Click on users again. Click on users down. Click on users. Okay, and go to the bottom and click on users. Yeah, click users. Yep, and then go to below roles and click on users. All right, so now, these are all people. Now, if you look under System Administrator, these are all people that are System Administrators. Then you got standard users and all that. So they have, like, it might be a licensing system. Now, I'm not going to ask you to go into that, but what I'm saying is for you guys just to see, you might have somebody that might come in. They might be an HR person, and they need to see X, Y, and Z. So you could create them as a user, and then maybe you could add them to a profile. Now, that profile may say this person can see salary, this person can't see this, they could pull up this report, they could do this. You could be very, very, very granular.
Yeah.
So that's what you're doing as a system administrator. Now go down a little bit, get out of users. Okay, now let's go down a little bit more. Actually go to the object manager.
Objects and fields.
Yep. Now the way it works, okay, now think about this, you guys. Salesforce works based on objects. Now objects are basically, they're just objects. Like,
Something
if he
that
clicks on
holds-
account.
Yeah, like something that holds, like a container that holds information.
So let's say if he were to click on account, okay, and then let's say he wants to add a field to his account. Let's say HR says, well, we want to add a field that is going to calculate whatever. Okay, so just go ahead and click field of relationships. Okay, so let's say you say, we just want a field for account name. You could add a field somewhere, and then what you could do is you could go to page layout. Once you create the field, now let's say you clicked, for example, customer layout or whatever, right? Then what will happen is you could actually go in there, and it's a lot of drop and drag functions. So when they're talking about building code, you guys, they're not necessarily just talking about building the physical code. You have a lot of options nowadays where you could drop and drag and literally build and architect your entire, the way, however you want it. You just need to know how, and that's what Trailhead is about. It tells you how to do it. That's what Salesforce is about. It's not about, it's not like with networking, you're like, oh, well, he can't remote into this, and he can't remote into that, and it could be this, it could be that. No, it's not that many variables. It's what is this, and how to use it to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
That's all Salesforce is. It's just it's like a giant phone book of information that businesses leverage how to get opportunities and leads. And so now if we go back to your dashboard, so go to the other tab to your left in Chrome, the dashboard tab. Just launch any app. You could create applications.
Exactly.
You could tell it to do whatever you want. You could do automation. There's so much stuff, you guys, you could do. It's unbelievable. It will blow you away. And if you know how to do it, you get paid a lot. It's that simple. None of this OSI layer that I got to figure out over the next 2 years, and then I got to go up to, I got to be a network admin first, then I got to be a network engineer, and learn that for another 5 years just to make $100,000. No, that's not how this works. Y'all start messing with this in 2 years, you just won't be in the same position. It's just going to be different.
Yeah.
So
It's just different.
Yeah,
so
show you
basically saying
Marketing
next
Cloud.
week.
So this is Salesforce Marketing Cloud. This is what it looks like. So it's different from Sales. So what we just went through is the typical classic Salesforce Sales Cloud. So what I'm showing you here is Salesforce Marketing Cloud. And this is what you use for emails, for SMS messages, and things of that nature. Again, Marketing Cloud is huge, is vast, and people that knows this stuff, which is where I got started. They there's a lot of demand for them because you have what you call Salesforce Marketing Cloud admins. You have people that develop some of the things that we do. You have, actually, let me do a quick, so you have Email Studio for emails. You have the Mobile Studio. That's where you get, let's say Excel Energy sends you a text, stop, text, or if you want to get this text or get this message, type whatever number to this number. This is where it gets put together in the Mobile Studio. And then you have the Social Studio for social media and stuff like that. You have the Ad Studio, Web Studio for cloud pages, Interaction Studio, Analytics for reports and things like that. Journey Builder, Automation Studio. Journey Builder is kind of like what is used for, like, let's say they sent you an email, and let's say you do something, you click on it, and then you take an action, you get another email. This is what powers all those things. The engine behind all those things are in this layouts when it comes to Journey, how to build all these things, the logic.
You did that?
Yeah, all these things in terms of, okay, so entry event, okay, the first email, after the first email, like I was saying, you wait 10 days, if they click on it, all these things, there are rules, behind it. So if they open the message, proceed on the yes path, then you send them down on this path, you get the second email. After 10 days, you send them the second email. So that's kind of like, what marketers like a lot about Marketing Cloud. This journey.
And let me interrupt just real quick. What he's talking about right here, I started messing with it a little bit. This is an example, eventually getting into this Einstein analytics. This is an example of the automation of the, now think about this, you guys. This is what I call, this is logic.
Yeah.
Logic is based on, it's not based on necessarily what you think. It's based on what is and ain't. And as you can see right there, if you look at the logic, he's specifically telling, it's specific. It's very specific. It's telling what to do, and if this happens, if this is false or if this is true, it's straight logic. It's true or false, and ain't no maybes. It's either true or false. If it's told to do this, and you could add something else to say if or true or okay, if this condition doesn't exist under this circumstance, do this. And see, that's what I'm saying. When y'all get to this point, you're very, very, very good at what you do. Because what he's built is an entire logic to tell something to do. That's the thing about Salesforce. You have to tell it to do something. It's not just going to do it. You could customize it the way exactly how you want. And just looking at this, I haven't been doing this for a while, you guys, but from me seeing that this thing that he put together on his dashboard, he's very well versed in Salesforce. Once you learn this skill, they can never take it away.
Exactly.
What was your question, Mr. Johnson?
Question I had. I forgot, man. I'm just so impressed how that stuff. Yeah, that's one question I had. I'm so impressed how that stuff really works. So basically, y'all guys are saying that within anywhere from 6 to 8 months of everything, training this stuff will earn you a position like $50,000 or more a year, correct? As a start.
It could.
Yeah.
It's easier. See, the thing about this Trailhead thing, it's easier for you to do this and learn on your own and be able to come somewhere and now how you go about getting it, you're gonna have to sell yourself now. That's another game. But what we're saying is, you start getting some of these trails, you get your resume fixed up, and you start looking for opportunities where you could try to get somewhere where you can get an entry-level role or volunteer wherever you're at to do some Salesforce stuff. Because, like I say, once you get at it, and you just want to make sure you got your trails, because each time you do a trail, it just shows you, like if you could look at your trails, Sean, show them all your trails you got.
So I put
it's like a module.
Man.
This for Salesforce user, So when it comes to my own trails that I've done, let me show you. I've got 4,300 points, and these are some of the trails, the badges that I've achieved. My Marketing Cloud Specialist certification, maintenance, email creation, this and that. And then, it shows you, let me show, see? So some of the, because the thing is, even on the job, let's say on the job, you got stuck. Let's say you get stuck, you don't know, how to figure something out. you get this, how do I figure this thing out? I've not seen it before. Or maybe you have an idea and you need to kind of just, you can quickly go to the trails and find or Google something, and then you can quickly take that. Trail is pretty much like a class, right? So design your data model. Let's say I'm having or struggling with this. I want to design a data model, right? You go here. So you want to design a data model. This is a data model. This is what it looks like. Let's say I'm struggling. I really don't know what to do. I'm a consultant. I'm supposed to know. I'm telling you exactly what I went through a couple of years ago, all right? I'm supposed to figure this thing out and tell the rest of the team, what do I do? Ooh, okay, I just go here, design my data model. I take that, everything is already explained. So I go through it, and then he explains everything. You see, design your data model. See what I'm talking about? See how similar that looks with this, right? Now let me go back. See? So it walks you through what you need to do, what each, data sources, data extension, all these things that you see here, data extension, data sources, what's the meaning of all this? Right here. You go figure it out over there. And then you go through that class or that section, and then they have questions that you take. See, I got 100 points or 100% for that question. So that tests your knowledge, whether you know it or not. So, and if you get it, you get 100 points. And then that gets added to your total point up here. So that's just a practical example, as practical as it gets. I'm designing a data model. I don't know what I'm supposed to really do. I think maybe I have a rough idea, but I just need to make sure I don't look stupid in front of the client or the front of the team. Okay, you just go here and take the trail and follow the questions, follow the instructions, and then they also have help. That's also another thing that I want to mention. Help. So when it comes to Salesforce, in addition and apart from Trailhead, they also have like help documentation online. Salesforce, how to get started with Salesforce. You have questions. You can go to this. It's kind of like a bit more on a detailed level, but again, it's a resource that you can use or tap to help you get going. So getting started, Trailhead, view documentation, videos, resources. Like I said, because of time, we'll still have maybe an opportunity later to really dive deeper. Let's say you have a question about Marketing Cloud campaigns, how to build a campaign, how to create a Marketing Cloud campaign. See, it walks you through. Perform these actions, name, description, blah, 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 blah. So you also have that at your disposal. So it's not tricky. It's not like a secret sauce that, like some other technologies that you got to join this, you got to pay, you got to be part of this group because before they let you in, before you know all the whatever. It's not like that. Everything is out there when it comes to Salesforce and how to get better. These are some of the things that I used myself that helped me on the job. Because like I said, I didn't know Salesforce, but these are some of the things that I relied upon, to help me in that setting, when, everybody's looking at you, you're supposed to know. Well, and at the same time, you let them know that it's not possible to know everything. I'll figure it out. I'll go figure it out. I'll get back to you. So you can also.
And they got to give you time.
Yeah.
And another thing, I know it's kind of cutting in at 9 o'clock, you guys, so we're going to get ready to wrap up. But, that's another thing about the Salesforce. You're saying something, Gabby?
Yeah, I just found a Twin Cities study group for Salesforce.
Salesforce Saturday?
I'm not sure if it's Saturday, but it says, they
can you post that on Slack?
Hennepin Avenue, Minneapolis.
Oh yeah.
Post it on Slack. I like to go to one of these groups.
Yeah.
You guys should sign up, go to some of those groups, and that's like I said, that's a nice thing about the Salesforce in general. And in summary, wrapping up, The good thing about the Salesforce groups is, like I said, they can't. It's not like some of these IT environments you get in there. We've all been in these situations. You get in there and people withhold information. They don't want you to get the information. They try to figure out a way to give you a half-ass training or whatever the case may be, and they want to pick sides and, you know, and, oh, I'm going to show this person this. And that not with Salesforce. They can't do that. They could try, but the thing is like Sean said, you know, I've done it at my job. I go in and I look it up, and they got to give you time. Oh, we want this, okay, well, hold on 1 second. Let's see if this is even feasible, because some of the stuff that people may want to actually, Gabby, if you could put that in Slack itself, so the actual Slack app, you know, they will try to, you know, you may have favorites, especially in some of these larger, even these, it happens smaller too, but these very, very large corporate enterprise, they have these, what they call it, favoritism. Well, you know, we'll let, if you ain't in this in group and you ain't kissing our behind, we're going to hold out. No, I could go and I could get the information that I need to get, and I could ask people in the Trailblazer community, and then you have a little bit of time. Would it be feasible? Will this change the environment for the better? That's another thing you got to look at, because you might have a certain structure, and that's something we struggle with, where it's a certain structure that you got stuff. People say, well, change this, just because they just don't want to click 2 times. Well, if you change that, that's going to change everything for everyone else, and it's just going to cause a whole lot of problems. So now what we do is we have meetings. I'm not changing nothing if it's going to cause a bunch of problems. So we had a manager that left, and things had to basically get simplified before we go any further with any major changes. So most of the time when people ask me at work, Derek, I want to do this, I want to change that. Hold on 1 second. I flat out tell them, wait a minute. Hold on there, Freckles. I put one of them House Party 3s on them. I say, hold on there, Freckles. Let's look at this first, because just because you don't want to click 1 time, or just make it easier for you, you want lemon meringue pie today. No, let's look at this and let's find out what's going on. So back to earlier, I was saying, who's all interested, email and get in contact with Kamisha on Slack or wherever, or email, or however it goes. If y'all are interested in joining her study group, which she wants to do quite a bit, this is the time for you guys to communicate. Get on that study group, look at the videos, and go for TeamViewer. Anybody that's offline wants to talk to Sean and get with him on some Salesforce stuff, he's also going to be included in this email. I'm going to send this email to everybody, including Angelina and Sean, along with the recording of the TeamViewer, or not the TeamViewer, but this conference. I'm going to include this on this email that I send out to everybody. Any questions?
Okay. No.
I mean, question I have and stuff, man, is this combined with AWS. I mean, this.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
you can do both.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it's important to make sure focus on the Microsoft, because getting Microsoft and then layer it with Salesforce, or do Microsoft, Salesforce, and AWS, and then you're just gonna be so much in demand you wouldn't know what to do with yourself. And that is the place we want to be as minorities in America. Seriously, that is the place you want to be, where you are able to, hold your head high because of the value that you have, and the fact that people are looking for what you can provide, and no matter what you're from, or what you look like, or what you sound like, it's about value and what you can deliver. And you can, say, oh, I'm not comfortable with this, I don't want to do this, you don't want to do that. So, I mean, that's the beauty of it all. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to come to.
Well, thank you, Sean, and I appreciate, and see, Sean's an example, you guys, of somebody. Sean was the first person, he took my first class.
Yes.
My very first class. He took my first class, and I think I got Sean kicked off with some of that Smart Source stuff. Didn't you start doing that Smart Source stuff when you took my class?
Yes, yes. Actually, that was also another thing that I didn't have time to mention. So, because after I finished my contract at that got me into Salesforce, after I finished that or that rounded up, so what helped me to be able to support myself and pay my bills and put food on the table was the fact that Derek hooked me up or connected me with Smart Source, kind of like a group, that kind of, they have your profile and they have all kinds of tech support roles around that you can drive to, and that was what I used to build up that part of my resume as well. So when people look at my resume and profile, they see the fact that, oh, you're a tech support, you have a strong technical background, also you have Salesforce, it makes me much more attractive. So that was what helped me before I landed my current permanent consultant role that I'm in right now. Because the reality is, whether you have 6 certifications, you have this class, you take that class, you do that class or whatever, you gotta put food on the table. You gotta be able to pay your bills and be able to, support yourself. So I keep going back to the practical. What is practical? What is real? Because that's what I experienced, especially in this country, in this environment. So that was what I used to help me stay afloat while I look for opportunities in Salesforce. I was able to use that to support myself, to pay the bills, and help support my family while I was waiting for the perfect dream job to come through, and that was how it happened. So thank you, Derek.
And one more thing before we close, I ask if I know, as everybody knows, for those that don't know, if Ssid is still watching, Lloyd's still watching, everybody has received their resume updates, and so I recommend everybody to download either Google Drive or OneDrive and keep your resume live. So basically, always have your resume on your phone or in that cloud, so you'll be able to make any modifications if something comes hot off the press. I'll need to send you. Also, if Kevin and Kamisha can just real quick let the class know how their new positions have been, and I'll go ahead and I will close out and I will get the video uploaded and I'll send the email out so everybody can respond to her request for anybody that's interested in joining her study group.
Okay. All right. Who's first?
You can go ahead, Kevin.
All right, let's see now. New position here, which I work at, is through contract companies. It's probably they're through A3, aka the Onion Group. He got me as a contractor, so working for Compicom, and Compicom is contracting right now with U.S. Bank corporate office in downtown St. Paul. That's why I'm working there with them right now, starting off at $19 an hour. Tier 2 help desk. I mean, a lot of stuff seems very easy to do there and stuff, everything, but the only problem I come across with sometimes are just the managers. Like, I have to constantly get on this stuff about time. It's like, hey, we're going to want me help doing this, and we're going to want me help doing that, because I did not want to constantly sit down at work doing nothing. I mean, some people like to sit down, get paid for free doing nothing so far, and they sit on their behind. Some people like to do it, but I'm not the one. I like to get experience at work because I don't want to see like I'm not doing nothing at work. But other than that, a lot of work like working with Clear Vision, working with Clarify, which is other systems if I have to use, create tickets, working with ServiceNow. All that stuff is really easy to do with their job, really easy to learn. They got a lot of other corporates there so far who's actually lucky for me so far. I would say half my coworkers so far actually look just like me. Other half so far are white. Other half look just like me. I'm actually just the first work environment in the IT field that I worked at so far. I have my coworkers are actually black, because I actually very lucky with that, and they're actually even willing to help me out and stuff. And luckily, some of the white coworkers have only like one white coworker so far I may have an issue with, because he don't have to help out communicate with us, and the other ones so far, like I said, just two managers for. They just like to kind of get on about stuff like, hey, do you need me help you with this? What can I do with this? This blog, you get kind of irritated, but other than that, everything else is cool with the job. I mean, yeah, that's basically just one thing with that job. But it was a 6-month contract I hired. They said they might extend my contract, but me, it's like, I don't mind having the contract extended, but me look at this like this thing with the Salesforce, the AWS, like after I get my certification, like a networking and possibly A+, even while I'm working on this certification, I'm still going to be studying for this either Salesforce or the AWS, but look at more like the Salesforce and stuff first because it seems like very promising and you see that stuff really help out once automation hits the next like 2 to 3 years. This will be eventually happen, which we get rid of like 50% of the labor force work. That's a whole other conversation for a different time. But yeah, that's my position with my results for, or should I say my report for the job working in right now. So it's good, but it has some irritation. Also, like today, just they were down with the network. All that stuff as well too, so they let that network stuff already down nationwide across U.S. because they did something wrong with their firewall, which makes it creates an opportunity for some hackers to fire do stuff with U.S. banks. So that's All right.
Okay. Thank you.
You, Kamisha? I mean, anyone have any questions about that?
No. My job is going okay. I actually got worked on a ticket or whatever today, and I got they turned it in for a good service, so I got a hooray or whatever you call that, outstanding performance or whatever. And I just started Monday. So it's actually an excellent company to work for. It's a 6-month contract through Post. 6-month contract to hire. So I'm actually a senior desktop support specialist.
Okay.
So right now, I'm just basically I've re-imaged, bagged up some machines, worked on some trouble tickets or whatever, and I'm working with service now also. So we're using, they got Windows 10 or whatever, basically laptops. What else we doing? It's a lot of other things that we're working with there. Let's see, what else are we doing? It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. It's really a lot. And the way they have it set up is basically like you just actually walk in like you're at a like squad or whatever at Best Buy or Microsoft Center or whatever. You just walk in, walk there. But my job is actually going to be on the 2nd floor where I actually go out to people's desks. And also, they want me to start doing some type of new hire training. Once I get comfortable with that, they want to do new hire training. But what else? And I actually literally, because I haven't really done any desktop support in a few years, so there's some things that I need to brush up on. So I was going to talk to you about that, Derek, and see what you think I could do to, because it's like when I touch it, I remember it, but I haven't really done it in a while. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Just need to probably read or touch up over some things or whatever.
I'd say one of the best things, I wouldn't mention AWS, but if you have VirtualBox too, getting a VirtualBox installed on your laptop if it accepts virtualization, which I'm thinking it probably does, and downloading an ISO file of an evaluation copy of Windows 10, and then install that as a VM and see how that rolls on your VirtualBox, and play around with it in that respect. Sometimes you get a little rusty as far as just knowing where stuff is, like network connections and just little basic stuff that you forget. How to map a network drive.
It's not bad. It's just little bitty basic stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, I know that. And then it comes back to me when I get home. I write it down or whatever. We have a knowledge base and stuff like that, and then it actually comes back to me. So it's cool, but the company is actually a good company. I would like to work there it's laid back, you know what I'm saying? I would love to work there, to get in there, work in help desk or work in help desk is not something that I would like to do permanently.
Yeah. Well, what you might be able to do is, and what I'm thinking is, in the meantime, you can keep doing that and study your Salesforce, knock out this exam, and then keep adding to your resume. We'll send it back over to Kenny and Yoni and them and get it reviewed. And then sometimes they might open something up with Salesforce. And what I foresee for you, because you have a lot of technical experience, even if it's been a while, and then you have some instructional experience. You have tech training experience, just like me. Like you've taught people. So now that sounds kind of leaning towards the BA role, process analyst or business analyst, where you can go in there, you talk to the business and stuff. And, like I say, most of them BA positions. Now, PM, if you're interested, I think PM is a pain because everything falls on you with the projects and stuff. But as a BA, you're buffered from the PM.
When you told me that, I don't want to deal with that.
I've done PM work.
I want to kind of work. I want to kind of work and leave work at work and come home.
Yeah, you don't come home with PMs almost. Like PM is just, it could be as many hours as long as the project, anything goes wrong, it's your fault with the PM.
Yeah, that's what I don't want. And I don't want to
too much stress.
I want to get this certification down, your class, I want to get that out the way, and then focus on something, focus on Salesforce, basically. That sounds good.
Salesforce and AWS is the best things that we could get into, especially for our people, because what happens is you end up getting siloed into this desktop stuff, and then now if you get stuck up under that, I mean, the best thing to get into right now, I think, is AWS and Salesforce, and then Splunk. Anything data kind of / AI cybersec related, you want to kind of move towards that wave, towards the, I'd say the scary wave, this creepy stuff. It creeps me out. I've been in this game a while, and it really creeps me out. Some of it I don't like, but it is what it is. You got to get your bread. So learn the creepy stuff, the data aggregation, cybersec, data aggregation, cloud-based stuff, the AWS stuff. Learning the Azure. AWS, Salesforce. I mean, Salesforce is the largest cloud company ever now. Like, I mean, you've seen it. Tableau, that's data. Tableau is aggregating data.
See, this company, everything is structured.
Right.
Very structured. Like, for them moving, they do not move no computers at all. They do not. If they go to your desk and you got old monitors or old equipment or something like that, they do not move it. They do not touch it. It has to be brought down by somebody in a department. Certain parts, certain like cables and stuff like that, adapters, they don't support it. It has to be ordered through the department.
Yep. That's typical large corporate enterprise. And one thing about large corp that someone that likes structure may like is it's a certain way that they do stuff. If you like organization, and there's some large corps that ain't that organized, but the ones that are, you're not gonna have nobody. Let's say, okay, this is your role. This is what you do. Ain't nobody gonna come hand you no broom. No disrespect. What I'm saying is can't nobody come and say, because you might have a scope. There's certain stuff that you do. If you're the Salesforce person, can't nobody come up to you asking you questions about, well, could you do a password reset for my phone and my active? You could tell them, call the help desk. Straight up. Call the help desk, sir. You may not even know. See, and that's the thing about sometimes being in some of them large corporate environments. Some people will try to get you to do stuff because they figure, oh, you're IT, you could do it. You could be like, no, I don't even know what that is. Some companies and departments are so large, you don't even know what that is. You'd be like, well, because you don't handle that department. You don't handle that. They need to call the help desk and put a ticket in. Because otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to be running around like a chicken with your head cut off. It's happened to me 1,000 times.
And I tried to reach out to your girl. I sent her an email of my congratulations thing or whatever.
Yeah, that's good.
I haven't heard from her. But
yeah, she's probably tied up too, because I mean, you see how big the company is. It's just, you know.
Yeah. And then who else was it? It was yeah. So it's just I could tell, and then plus I'm like business casual. They told me business casual, so I wear a jacket every day.
Right.
Business.
Okay.
It's just always been me. That's just me.
Yeah, and that looks good on your part. That it gets, because you're bringing that level of that professionalism in there. You're probably going to end up with a BA position there if you end up staying there down the line. They probably are big nowadays on, because one thing about these companies, and I'll wrap this up, you guys, because the video is only going to give me so much time. But one thing about a lot of these companies, some of these companies nowadays, they're focusing on ways to try to retain people, because they know some people are just leaving. So they don't want to invest all that time. So they want to.
They never, the help desk that they got, these people never leave. They don't leave. Yeah, they in these roles and they never switch out. They never leave. They there.
Yeah,
and
well.
I was like, what?
Yeah, and sometimes now, I met somebody one time there before, just randomly one time in Columbia Heights, and it was a sister that was there, and she was stuck. And she told me that because when she was working there at the time, it was so cliquish, she tried to get out of that department, and she was just kind of stuck. She'd been there a long time. So I started telling her about well, at that time, that's way before I wrote my book. That's way before I had really any advice. She was a little older than me, and she was like, man, I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, maybe you could learn some new technology or something like that. But nowadays, these companies now, they're spending a little bit more time trying to hire within. They want to keep people, so sometimes they'll try to let you move up. So in your situation, in closing, I would say try to mess around with Windows 10 evaluation mode in VirtualBox, and keep studying your thing, and eventually get into Salesforce after you get your MTA exam. I think everybody should sign up for Trailhead and respond to this email I'm going to send out. I'm going to go ahead and close for tonight. If you guys got any questions, email me. Throw something on Slack if you need to be.
Oh, but send me a separate email on what to do, because I won't remember that. I'm laying down after we get off. Okay,
cool. I'll do that probably sometime in the morning if I remember, and we'll take it there. You guys let me know next week. Like I said, if there's not anybody that needs something specific, let's just make it a case-by-case scenario. Just, if there's something you need, other than that, I'm probably just going to take it offline. We might as well just close up. If somebody needs anything else specific, if they need to have some questions or whatever the case, if they need me to create a conference just on a one-on-one basis, let me know, because otherwise we'll just go ahead and just, this will be the kind of the closing out of the class, but you still have our support. If there's questions you have, and if there's something you need, let me know. If there's a position that you're looking at, or if I send you something, I'll still start sending stuff out.
So will we still have access to Slack?
Yeah, yes. You never lose access to Slack.
To yours, though?
No. Once you're in my group, unless someone takes you out. I mean, I don't take people out. I mean, I got people on Slack that's been in there 2-3 years.
I'm going to be, that's my thing. I'm just going to be going in there. I'm finna go back over everything. Whoever want to get in the study group, let me know.
Yeah, I can. I'm going to send you an email and stuff, everything to my email and contact information stuff about that, but I'm trying to wait on the email for that.
Yeah, and we can send.
I'm going to send that tonight. I'm gonna send an email. I'm gonna send an email and everybody respond to respond to it, and I'm gonna throw up the video too as soon as I get off the phone. It's gonna take a little while for me to upload and edit.
That's fine.
Okay, everybody. Okay. All right.
Okay. Good night.
Well, thank you, everybody. I'll see you soon, or I'll hear back from you soon.
All right, y'all. You have a good night.
Take care.